Boys, it's late as fuck. I'm tired. But I've been seeing some really dumb arguments relating to these ShiftyTV clips. And I wanted to go over them because all of these pros are talking out of their ass most of the time. And they're using very bad arguments. Now, Shifty is suspicious, but using bad arguments hurts many people. It hurts people, legitimate people in the future, because you're going to repeat those arguments towards those people when these arguments don't apply. And then also on top of that, it hurts your case when you're using bad arguments and being inconsistent. For example, we've seen a lot of people use the same arguments towards Shifty as hacking communities have towards DS Biffle and Z-Laner. You need to make sure that this doesn't happen, because those people, I'm sure, these pros don't agree is cheating. So you need to make sure that your arguments are better. First, I want to go over Huskers' tweet. After watching the entire ordeal surrounding ShiftyTV last night, I hope this convinces the public that he was indeed cheating previously. I personally knew it long ago when his insane clips first surfaced, but it's hard to convince casual eyes without substantial evidence. I'm just going to respond to this, and then the second part. This is just terrible. A lot of his clips could be done legitimately. So, just because they're insane and they're by someone you don't understand, don't know, doesn't mean that you should be accusing them and thinking they're cheating. Now, I like that he had silence until this point, because that is the professional thing to do. But, yeah. Nobody can go from having the best controller aim in the world, hyperbole, there's a chance that his aim is, on the level of, DS Biffle sort of thing, to having the aim of a 2KD player due to nerves, or any reasonable explanation. I hope he is permanently banned from tournaments at this point. I think he is very much suspicious. I don't know if there's any enough evidence that he is cheating to permanently ban him. I wouldn't be surprised if people do believe he's cheating, because there is suspicious gameplay, suspicious stuff, all of that sort of stuff. But this argument here is actually fucking terrible, because I'm assuming Huskers, due to the fact that he's been a pro for a very long time and he has a massive audience, hasn't really dealt with anything similar to what Shifty has gone through. Shifty is a small content creator that has had the entire Warzone community dogpiling him, and probably getting messages of death threats, 100% getting death threats, 100% getting doxed, 100% getting all that shit. There's no fucking doubt. I know this from personal experience with a lot smaller of attention casted on me when I wasn't cheating, and people thought I was cheating. I was at much smaller exposure, and I got all of those things, and I still have police reports and stuff from stalkers from that. So 100% Shifty is probably dealing with the same thing. Now, that amount of stress and nerves can drop you from a pretty decent player to an average player, most likely. So this argument isn't good, because nerves can definitely 100% affect you. We can even go towards things that are a lot less stressful and see how people perform. There's been people like Nex from CSGO, who was literally a phenom, and everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing. He plays at LAN and he's really bad, because of the nerves surrounding it. The same thing can happen in this scenario when you're getting this much stress and this much pressure on you to perform with a bunch of people that fucking hate you and will make your life living hell if you don't perform. It is pretty fair that you might perform worse, and even to the level of a 2KD player. So basing all of this off of just one day of him playing with a face-it anti-cheat seems very, very bad and wrong. We should wait for about a week or two and see if it levels out. What you need to wait for is for all this to die down, and then check him out and see if he's performing the same. Because to have a controlled environment where he's under all of this stress, he could be performing worse. You have to wait until that stress is relatively alleviated. Let's say wait a month and see if he's performing the same level, if he's using the face and just cheat still. And if he's not, and he's still going with 2KD, you can say with 90% certainty that dude's probably cheating. But you can't base it all off of just one stream or two streams, especially when he has more pressure on him than any person possible. Anyone in the scene right now to perform. So a lot of these arguments are extremely flawed. Also, to quickly talk about what's been being posted, a lot of people are doing, I think, disingenuous and bad arguments relating to posting Shifty whiffing with the anti-cheat. Now, this could be for a multitude of reasons, and it doesn't prove literally anything. You can cut clips together to make it seem like anything is happening. So, it needs to. So this is just really bad evidence gathering. For example, people did something very similar to me when the new anti-cheat came out. They just cut apart about 30 seconds, 30 seconds in total of like 2-second clips over the course of like a month of me missing shots and saying, look, he has terrible aim since the anti-cheat, but I still was keeping up the same KD and the same stats, that sort of thing. You can do a lot, and you can paint a really biased picture and incorrect and untruthful picture if you engage in this sort of thing. So I think as a community, we should probably not do that, and we should just be like, look at this entire stream or look at this entire thing over time and showcase that he is performing worse, instead of just looking at clips, because everyone can whiff. Even if you are the best player in the world, you're going to have whiffs, and if you cut that up and then paint it a certain way, you can make any message you want. You also, when you're creating accusations, I've said this prior, and it needs to be stated again and again and again. You have to prove that something cannot be done legitimately for it to be proof that someone's cheating. Just because a cheat can do it doesn't mean that someone is cheating. It is faulty logic. The amount of people that would be considered cheaters if a cheat could just do what they were doing would be every single player. Cheats are very sophisticated now, so if you make the argument, oh, look at this cheat software, doesn't it look relatively similar as the aim that this person has? Well, yeah, cheats are extremely complex now, so they can make it look like anything. So that is not an argument. You have to prove how something can't be done legitimately. And a lot of Shifty's clips prior to this have been done by other pro players. Diaz Biffle is very similar in his aim, as I showed in the previous video on Shifty. So it can be done by a legitimate player, therefore you can't say this is cheats. It might seem like I'm just hammering home the same points in every single video, but it is a massive issue in every single competitive scene that they just are unable to critically think when it comes to these issues. And it's the reason why pros are so often wrong. Like 90 times out of 100, they're going to accuse someone falsely. It's happened in CSGO so many times. It's happened, and it's probably going to happen in the COD community a lot too. So we need to make sure that we're actually making good arguments against these people if we want to catch them, because using all these bad arguments and having a bad track record after bad track record after bad track record after bad track record causes people to doubt your arguments when they're actually valid. So stop doing this. Finally, I'm going to go over this video here because it has some decent arguments and it has some fucking terrible arguments, and it hampers this video so much by just including like a minute worth of clips that are not suspicious, and it is extremely annoying because there's a decent chance Shifty is cheating. Now, he could be legitimate and could be quite unlucky due to the stress, playing badly, all that sort of thing, but he is decently suspicious, and making really terrible arguments, as I said and I've stated before, is really bad in the community because it hurts legitimate players in the future and it hurts your argument today.
Alright, so I want to start this off by showing that none of these clips have been altered or edited. These are all from Shifty's Twitch streams. These are all from the Boom TV 15K qualifier that was, I believe, on March 8th. Now, again, these are all Shifty's clips. So the very first one here, he actually pre-aims on this guy on the bridge here. Now when he pulls out his Bren, you're going to notice that his crosshair here is going to be perfectly centered on that guy right there. And as he strafes to the right, it still remains perfectly centered. When he ADSs, it again is perfectly centered.
This person is not really moving that much, and if you centered the person, it is quite easy to keep centered on the person. This is not a good piece of evidence for anything, especially because, funnily enough, it could be bullet velocity and stuff like that. But funnily enough, he just misses his shots too. So it isn't good evidence. Don't put this in the video. It makes your argument so much worse. It shows that you have no understanding of how cheats work. Obviously, if you're centered on someone and they don't move that much, it's quite easy to stay centered on them.
Now he does start missing shots. I believe he does toggle off here, or he's...
Yeah, and you start making really dumb fuck arguments like this. Just because your evidence isn't strong doesn't mean you can just start throwing shit at a dartboard and say, oh, he probably just toggled off while shooting. You have no evidence of that. Zero evidence. So just throwing that out there hurts your argument so much. I could say the same thing about you. Oh, every single time you've had a really clean track, that was you toggled on. Oh, the next 7 gunfights, you haven't had a clean track and you miss bullets. That's because you toggled off. You were doing it mid-game. I can make that argument about every single pro player. So, this is a dog shit argument.
He's just missing them because of bullet velocity. But nevertheless, he gets the kill there.
It's also funny because they think that this person has aimbot, right? He might do. But they say, oh, he's missing because of bullet velocity. Now, he said he's toggled off. There's no reason to suggest that Shifty would toggle off if you think he's toggled on for some kills too. So there's no reason for him to be toggling off there. And then also you have no proof that he was toggled on or toggled off there. And the accusation about him is the fact that he has aimbot, and his aimbot has prediction on. So bullet velocity would not be an issue because the aimbot would just be predicting where the bullet would go. Again, terrible clip to show on the first part of your video. Make sure your strongest evidence is up the front if you want to show bad evidence at all. And that was a terrible clip that doesn't prove anything.
These ones, they're nothing crazy. I mean, it is perfect centering as I go through it.
Perfect centering? Nothing is suspect.
Second one, it's perfect centering.
We don't have any information prior to this or the context that if he knows that someone's here or not, so this means nothing. He has to prove that there was no context prior. He could speed it. He could literally just go at 400 times speed for like a minute prior and just show the context really quick to see if we had any context of the players here. It is clip chipped, so I can't really take this at face value that this was suspicious because he knew he was there. The centering is not even that sus if he did know he was there because he was just at chest level.
Centering as well, but it's weird on the third guy there that he just...
It's a random shot. Yeah, it could be weird, but we don't know if he saw them before. This clip, we don't know anything about this.
Just like a shot at over the little camper, whatever this is. So right here as he turns the corner, flicks onto him, remains perfect centering the whole way through.
Let's look at this.
So if I just go through this frame by frame, he does flick over here, flicks back on him, onto the chest, and hits every
single shot because they're both moving in the same direction.
Single bullet as the guy's running across the screen. This one doesn't look...
This clip, when he slows it down, because I've pre-watched this, is actually a somewhat decent clip at saying that this is somewhat suspicious. This should at least be in the first, and the first 20 seconds on his timeline should be just cut, because it doesn't mean anything. The first 2 clips were fucking terrible.
Weird when I play it in full speed, but when I do play it back... one thing that he does very often is he waits for people to run across his crosshair, and then he'll toggle on them. So he sticks perfectly on him, on the chest the whole way through here, and even follows the guy through the jump. So if I just go back here again, he does follow the guy.
This does look relatively suspicious. Granted, aim assist works in wacky ways, so this could possibly be aim assist. But, and it's a lot stronger than these people try and let on. But yeah, this does stick relatively aggressively. It's not impossible because aim assist mixed with decent reactive tracking means that this might just happen, but it's at least somewhat suspicious and it's a lot better than the previous 2 clips.
Frame by frame through the jump right around chest level. Doesn't miss a bullet once again, similar to that wellgun clip that I just showed. Gets the kill there.
There's 2 kids in this building.
Now this one here, there's a guy probably about... That ping is 70 meters, so this is probably about 60 meters away. Now he does toggle on this guy right here, locks onto him, stays perfect center.
It wasn't perfect centering, so why are you just lying? He literally went off the player.
The whole way through. As the guy gets to the platform, once again, waits for the guy to cross his crosshair, and then perfect centers on him once again.
That easily could be aim assist. Holy shit. That was literally the most micro movement ever, and it wasn't stuck to a bone of any sort. That could have easily been aim assist. Again, terrible clip.
Now when the guy jumps off the train, there is a...
Now that snap can be suspicious. Now, is it a frame cut within the encoding of the Twitch? Could possibly be. But again, don't showcase and don't support decent arguments with terrible evidence too. This is somewhat suspicious. Just show that snap. Don't say what is prior suspicious, because none of that was suspicious. Just show that snap. Just point towards that snap and be like, that's relatively suspicious, isn't it?
Now this one, first kill isn't too weird.
First kill's fun.
Second kill where it gets weird. Now again, he's going to place his crosshair in front of the guy. As the guy comes across it right here, he's going to perfectly center on the guy through these bushes.
Nothing is suspicious about this. Again, stop using shit evidence.
And Combat Scout gives it away.
Because his tracking is not consistent. It's not perfectly centered. Again, the guy's just lying straight to your face. I don't know how people just believe shit that is just straight lies to your face. He's not perfectly centered the entire way. He is moving throughout it. And his tracking isn't... His tracking is decent here, but it's not perfect.
I mean, again, you don't get aim assist through these as well. So Combat Scout gives it away that he's on perfect centering that whole time. Now
He wasn't, don't lie.
Guy on the top of the hill here, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to kind of lock onto him and follow the guy through the jump.
That wasn't sus. That looked more like aim assist than the previous thing. Again, there was that snap in the tracking before where the person jumped or crashed or whatever. That, not too bad, because there was like a unnatural movement. Granted, aim assist does a lot of wacky things, but yeah, unnatural movement, decent. This just looks like aim assist, 100%.
So you can see the kind of crosshair kind of jump up a little bit there to follow him, and he remains on him the whole time, perfect centering. Alright, the next one here, it's kind of just perfect movement prediction. Now, if I played in full speed, it's nothing too crazy. You do see a little bit.
That is not sus
bit
at
of a
all.
jump there.
Again, don't
but if I do play it actually frame by frame, you will see him aim in, and as the guy's jumping over, his crosshair follows the guy perfectly on his chest.
It doesn't. Again, this guy's just straight up lying straight to your faces. It doesn't. It goes from the bottom chest, it goes up to his left shoulder, hits a bit of his arm, and then goes back down to his chest. Not perfect on his chest.
So again, it's just one of those things where it's just...
This is annoying because this person could possibly be cheating. And there's suspicious clips around this person. But this person just lies straight to your face the entire time. There's only like 5 seconds or 6 seconds of this 50 seconds so far on his timeline that have actually been suspicious. It's so bad and it damages everything.
Just the best movement prediction I've ever seen. This next one, he's going to flick onto this guy twice. He's there, comes back, reloads, and goes around the corner, flicks on him again.
Again, not sus. Literally nothing is sus about that.
This one flicks on him, perfect centering through sheet metal. He does miss a few bullets.
I didn't see that one too much.
Granted, I think he toggled off partway through, or the guy's slide messed it up. Not too sure. But he's looking right here, toggles.
Nothing is that sus about that. Especially considering he didn't hit the person. The snap didn't land on the player. This literally weakens his argument. Because if he can do a snap and miss, that means that the other snaps are less credible. He actually just proved my argument. I didn't even have to go find proof of a legitimate player doing similar snaps. He showed proof there because he just snapped and it wasn't even on the player at all. As we could tell, because he missed like 3 shots.
It's the guy, every single bullet is just following him.
It's not... This isn't sus.
Sorry, not every single bullet, but he is following him pretty well through sheet metal.
There's a combat scale, bro. It's pretty easy to track when you can see a fucking orange marker.
Right. Now this one, there is a guy...
Alright, I've seen this before. This one is relatively suspicious. Good job. Like 1 out of 10 clips is suspicious. Good job, Judah.
You can't see the guy until he starts gliding across the screen, but you'll see him, his cursor jump up right there, and center.
It's not perfect centering. I'm sure he will say that, but it's relatively suspicious how he snapped to the person through the branches. Granted, the visibility on this clip isn't the greatest, but he maybe saw him, but it is still somewhat suspicious. Good job, Judah.
On the whole time. This is a pretty bad one. There's a guy right over here. He's gonna toggle on him as soon as he kicks the door.
Enemy UAV active.
There it is.
Let's slow this one down because he doesn't do that, and I think that's important. I also don't know, because he didn't show any context, if he knows the player's here or not.
Kicks the door.
Enemy UAV.
He did see him. He did see him.
Kicks the door.
Enemy.
Sees him there. Alright, so let's see. 100% not even suspicious. Not even remotely sus. Because that didn't snap. It just moved smoothly onto the player and he saw him beforehand. Again, stop posting bad evidence. It hurts your point so fucking much.
There it is. and I'll play that back once again, because it is a really bad one. It's pretty quick.
It's a really bad one? Bro, it's not even suspicious.
Kind of hard to see. Right here, and he is centered on him perfectly. With that little finally see him. This one, there's a guy in the sky over here. So as he's running across his screen here, there's a guy in the sky right here where my cursor is. Now he is going to perfectly center on him right here.
I can't see the white dot. This is terrible quality, so I can't see the white dot.
And now he's just going to follow the guy the whole way through. Now this is...
That seems like the red white dot there, right? That's not on him then.
130 to 120 meters away. He does get the live ping, and I did...
This isn't sus at all. This is very similar to clips that are in CSGO. I'll try and chuck up a clip of Leaf from Valorant, and a clip of him just mimicking movement, and it looks like he's locked onto a player that he was accused for when he was versing MIBR when he was playing in Chaos in CSGO. These sort of clips are terrible. Again, terrible evidence. So bad.
See through the live ping that it is about...
Because it doesn't prove anything.
120 meters from this point here. Now it is a little bit hard to see, but I did catch that.
Engaging shoot. What?
Right, and this is one that I got in Rebirth. He does flick onto this guy. No slow-mo needed even.
On the bounty target.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's relatively sus. Could be done legitimately. There's multiple. I've shown in my previous Shifty video that tracks like this can be done legitimately, and even on people without aim assist, and I'm sure aim assist helps a bit. So it's such a good track.
Coming in.
Now, this is a good example of showcasing, like, let's say we watch a month of his gameplay of Face It Anti-Cheat and see if he does a track like this. If he doesn't do a single track like this, granted, it would be hard to catch. You'd need to be watching a lot. But if he doesn't do a single track like this, then it's relatively sus. You could be like, oh, maybe he has a bit of help to make that stuff a bit more consistent. But that's not sus in itself.
I got the...
This is actually a more recent one. He's going to flick on the guy at the door here.
Let's look at this one in slow-mo, because he knew the player was coming in, right?
More
saw them to the left.
recent one. He's going to flick on the guy at the door here.
Nothing really sus about that. And that is... and the last clip is this. Nothing was sus about that clip.
He gets a little bit of a weird kind of crosshair movement here. His screen jumps a little bit.
Yeah.
Right there. And then he perfectly centers on the guy across the street. Through bushes, whatever it is.
That's kind of weird. Again, about out of this 5-minute video, I would say about 20 seconds of it was suspicious clips. That's really fucking annoying. Don't do this in the future, guys. Actually start using your noggin. Peace.